Sitting here again talking about the same things.
We're sitting here again talking about the same things. That's what it feels like for us now that we're in the midst of February. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the FBS Report. Before we continue, Red, why don't you tell them what that stands for?
It stands for my hopes and dreams that came with year 30 of my life. Not great, not terrible, but there was a lot of fucking bullshit. And my, oh my, 2 weeks. You wouldn't think a lot would happen in 2 weeks, but a lot sure did happen. Number one, you could see me a lot clearer now because the rain has gone and I got a better setup over here.
Yeah, you look real pretty.
Finally got the dual monitor set. Number two, got a new hat that is hating this green screen over here. But you know what? Fuck it. I paid $15 for it on clearance. So fuck you. I'm doing it. A little pre-birthday gift to myself. And also, Squid, how did you spend the last week when we didn't have each other to cry into each other's shoulders with? And by the way, how is your cat napping over there? It literally looks like he's just trying to shove his head out of his own shoulders as much as he possibly can, stretching out like a goddamn state, like, hee!
Well, I'll tell you what, he can sleep through a nuclear warhead. So no matter what, he'll be fine. He's just going to chill out over there. Somebody's going to ask, so I'm going to answer this off the bat. The drawer over there by my dresser, there, as you can tell, one of them is missing. This happened last night. I was putting up my clothes, all of my pants up there. And as soon as I opened the drawer, it just completely broke on me. And I was like, what? How did this happen? So I brought my dad over. We both looked at it. And yeah, literally the top of that drawer just came off for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Craziest stuff, but we got it fixed. Yeah, no, it's been a crazy day. As I was going to my usual milkshake fund over on one of my the exit off of the interstate, there was a car completely engulfed in flames.
Should have invested more in the talent fee.
Straight up, that's what I'm saying. It turned into the Florida football program, just fire everywhere. So, I don't know how it happened, but yeah, I know there was just a car on fire right on the exit off of the interstate going onto the road.
Sounds like a typical afternoon in Tennessee. Some cars on fire somewheres.
Yeah, we just don't. I'm surprised there's not any news about it because I tried finding out what happened and nobody actually knows. All I know is that there was a car on fire.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's a typical afternoon in Tennessee. Nobody gives a shit. Oh, another car caught on fire? Okay, the sky is blue, the grass is green, volunteers are orange, and they can't win.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that. I'll get you back for that one later. Firstly,
you will.
One thing to announce, Mr. Ounch. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you for becoming a member of Tardaria. Thank you very much. Nathan Tucker, 25 with the 2, says, y'all hear the news that Rondale Moore is passing? Yeah, we had not just one, but a couple of very unfortunate passings over this past 2 weeks. Rondale Moore was one. We all remember that Ohio State game from 2018 where he just went off. on that Ohio State defense. He had a great career in the NFL. No, it's just an extremely, extremely tragic situation with Rondale
Indeed.
Moore. So prayers to the family, and rest in peace to a legend from Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all right there. It's tragic. All death is tragic, but in Rondale Moore's case, just way, way too young, and the way he went, from what I've heard, is just sad. And I hope he finds peace, man. I really do.
For sure. For sure. Unfortunately, he was not the only one who the only passing that we saw over this past week. Tennessee news journalist and reporter Wes Rucker, in his 40s, expecting a second child, unfortunately passed from a car accident on I-40 near Cedar Bluff, 10 minutes away from where I live.
No shit, really?
Yeah, literally just
that's
10
brutal.
minutes away. And yeah, no, he on that road, it's one of the most brutal selections of the interstate anywhere across the country. You stack that on top of the fact that there's just so many people coming through. It's always bumper to bumper everywhere you go. But it was an unfortunate situation. Never like to see anything like that happen.
I mean, if that's a pretty common occurrence that happens at that intersection, man, they really ought to do something about that. I mean, I won't get political on your ass here because this is not that kind of show. But I mean, you know what my area did when there was a few too many accidents that happened? They built some shit. They built the bridge overpass. They put a couple roundabouts in. Where
it's inevitable. They're going to. They've been talking about it. It's just while they're doing it, it's going to get really bad.
Oh yeah, it always does. It gets taxes involved, and money talks, bullshit walks, and government money talks really goddamn loud. And there is a whole lot of bullshit that walks through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Well, nonetheless, Wes was expecting a second child. His wife was, I think, 8 months pregnant, somewhere around that range. And it's extremely unfortunate that child is going to be born with a father that he won't know. It's very, very unfortunate. So rest in peace to Mr. Wes Rucker. I talked to him a few times. I'm not going to act like I had a personal relationship with him, but I mean, I saw his posts all the time. Being a Tennessee fan, I replied to a few of them. I think he replied back to a few. But point was, he was a very passionate Tennessee man, and we are going to miss him dearly.
That's off to him.
For sure.
Shame.
General Miley with the 2 says, USA, we got double gold in hockey over Canada. That is one positive that happened. The U.S. putting the whooping on Canada in their own sport. I officially can change the name to ice soccer.
I'll piss some people off. Both the men and the women in 2-1 overtime golden goals in Olympic hockey. I wish I had more time this weekend to watch some of it. I didn't get a chance to watch any of it live, but man, it was so lit this weekend. So hats off to Team USA. Well done. That's actually thanks to the men's hockey team. Team USA as a whole won the most gold medals in Winter Olympic history for the United States. So an excellent performance by Team USA in the Milano Cortana games. And now, 2 years, we turn to LA 28 for the summer games. And the hell that's going to be trying to get NFL players integrated into flag fucking football. God, that's going to be a shit show trying to figure out.
No doubt. RTMC with the 2 Go Bucks. Matt Patricia is an excellent DC. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too as well tonight. We've got a lot to go over. Another thing is we have a special guest in the back room. He's actually in the back room right now, funny enough. So we're going to try and get through everything tonight so that we can go ahead and bring him on specifically around 8:30.
Yes,
that
sir.
Tis the plan, probably sooner than that. We'll see.
Oh yeah. We won't keep him waiting too long.
That's right. Nathan with the 20. Thank you very much, good sir. Says, I know what it's like being in a car crash. Me and my mom got involved in a nasty car crash last year. Crashed on the side I was sitting on. Physically, I'm okay. Mentally, a lot to go through. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I was in a car crash as well. On the interstate. There was a lot of the lights were out. Apparently, they were doing some construction and they shut down one of the lanes. but you wouldn't know that until you got right up there. There was
Yeah.
barely any lighting, but they had shut down one of the lanes. And where I was, it was at a dead stop, and I was sitting there. The person behind me didn't even see I was stopped and just full force slammed into the back of my car. No, I made it out okay. I didn't receive any sort of injuries. I mean, my back hurt a little bit, but that was it.
Well, that's the best you can hope for in that. I mean, the worst I've ever been in is a fender bender. One I caused, one that hit me. So, you know, I'm so far I'm okay over here.
Yep. Oh, Seth with the 2 says, one of you better stream the Ball Sack State Bowl.
Yes, that's I'm gonna be streaming the Ball Sack Bowl.
That's some big news.
State meeting the MAC for the first time ever in MAC competition. The Ball Sack Bowl gonna feed families and sickos for the next year. It'll keep their asses warm in that ball sack. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. Shut. All right. You know what? It's just we'll touch on that one.
God damn it.
Yeah. Right. Sacramento State. Along with we kind of expected this, considering North Dakota State went ahead and did it, so we all knew that somebody else was going to join in on the fun. And who else but Sacramento State to do so? They received a formal invitation from the MAC to join the conference, and it's going to be interesting having them around. Now, I'm not going to predict them to win the MAC like I am with North Dakota State and winning their conference, but they'll be there. Give them some time; they might turn into a contender.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me a damn bit that Sacramento State finally got let in by somebody. They were only kicking on every available door trying to make their way into a conference somewhere. They were literally begging to spend millions of dollars to make the next level jump to FBS. And I'll say this again, like, of course the MAC were going to say yes. Oh, geographical conferences are dead. Man, that shit's been dead. Going back to 2010 when Nebraska jumped to the Big Ten, that shit's been dead for a while now. It's just, if you're the MAC and you make $8 million a year on your TV rights deal with ESPN, and suddenly Sacramento's coming in with a $12 million check, why the fuck wouldn't you say no? Why would you say yes? That's easy every fucking time. So I'm happy for the MAC, if anything. Good for them. They got a nice little pay raise for their athletic tuition this fall.
Good for them. General Miley with the 2 also streamed the Ole Miss LSU game. We'll find that out once we get there, but thank you very much for the 2. All right. Some other news that came of this week. It's going to be brought up somewhere along the line, so I might as well go ahead and get it out of the way. Joey Aguilar, Tennessee quarterback, his request for a preliminary injunction giving him another season of eligibility was officially denied in court Friday by the NCAA. Now, of course, he doesn't get the same special treatment that they gave to Trinidad and Tobago Chambliss, because there isn't a home cooking judge there going, the tonsillitis. Unfortunately, there's none of that going on.
I didn't see that in the court transcript.
Well, trust me, you don't need to. That's all you need to know. But yeah, we can officially move on from the Joey Aguilar era at Tennessee. Had a really good year here, but now unfortunately, our quarterback battles between 2 freshmen and a backup from Colorado. I sure do like our odds.
Yeah, y'all are fucked.
Shut up.
I'm not going to mince my words here. Joey Aguilar was really the only shot you guys had at being relatively good on offense this season, and now it's like, sorry, buddy. What are we gonna do here? Like, you got to deal with the scraps, because guess what? There's no spring transfer window to save your ass now, so you're just left with what you got. I'm not surprised. I mean, you got to remember, Trinidad Chambliss, Joey Aguilar, 2 very different situations. They rhyme, but that doesn't mean they're the same. You know, just because apples and oranges are fruit doesn't mean they're the same. Whatever reason, and also different court jurisdictions and scenarios. Like, at the end of the day, the NCAA, just anybody needs to step in and start normalizing the rules of this bullshit here to determine, okay, if you play JUCO, yes or no, do you get additional years? If you play D2, yes or no, do you get additional years? Like, there needs to be a standardization somewhere in here, and there can't just be a decision made by a fucking judge in order to get there, because that's just going to lead to eventual disaster, because the last thing you want is a court policing a goddamn sports league. It's kind of like when Major League Baseball went to the president to ask them to help out with the 94 strike. Of course it isn't going to end well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you pretty much said it as much as I would.
Yeah.
Nathan with the 5. That men's hockey gold medal win against Canada, by the way, was on a day of which was on the 46th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice when we beat the Soviet.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Well, it was Canada's fault for dressing in all red.
I guess they asked for it.
Yeah.
Taco at the 5. South Dakota State will join the ACC, and the Montana schools will join the Sun Belt. Trust me, it will happen. You're probably right about that. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of when.
Hold on. Come on. Let's be realistic here. If Montana State, Montana, South Dakota State, if they join any conference, South Dakota State will go where North Dakota State's going number 1. And number 2, it's got to be the Mountain West for the Montana schools. Like, there's no other schools that would make fucking sense.
Yeah,
and
no.
also,
in all seriousness, I think if the Dakota schools and the Montana schools were to upgrade and join another conference here in the FBS, it would probably be the Mountain West.
It's the only conference that makes sense geographically, because when you're coming from the Dakotas, Montana, you're not going to have as big of a budget coming in. And you also got a lot of area to travel to get there. Like, you guys forget how remote these places are. Fargo, North Dakota is near Minnesota's border. So, like, they got to travel a good piece to get to the fucking mountains. Mm-hmm. Montana, fucking huge. There's only like 5 or 6 cities that are reasonably populated in Montana, scattered across a 400-mile wide state. It's almost the width of Texas. So, I mean, that's important to think about. And also, this is going to cause Idaho to jump back up. Like, if anything is going to bring the Vandals back to FBS, Montana State, Montana, making a head for the hills to join the Mountain West, it's going to give the Vandals, that still want to be in the FBS, hope that maybe they can return. Because the only reason why they left FBS to begin with is mainly because the Sun Belt rejected them. And when the Sun Belt rejects you, show's over a lot. Just pack it up, pal.
Man, yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
But hey, all could be set right if UMass would just go back to the CAA.
that's where all of our problems end.
Yeah, that's where it all began. The second those goddamn Minutemen made the jump to Division I FBS, it all went fucking downhill. Yeah, bring the Idaho State Bengals up too.
Yeah, no kidding. Arctic Phoenix, geography makes 0 sense in the NCAA. Well,
it's ironic that
only the California schools. That's it.
It's ironic that the NCAA probably couldn't pass the geography test.
In West Virginia.
Well,
don't forget that.
We all know why West Virginia couldn't pass the geography test.
Phoenix, I put my father's ashes at Kibby Dome's 50-yard line.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Also,
nice.
I don't know how I would feel about that if I was a player playing in human remains. I don't know how I feel about that.
The remains of a legend. Yes, there you go. Now it makes it all better. All right.
Okay, fair.
Here's some breaking news for you. And this dropped a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago. I don't really remember the date, but it is recent. Ohio State defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. He has reached a new deal to stay with the Buckeyes. So you've got a new upgraded deal. You aren't going to let him pull a Jim Knowles and get out of there. He is going to stick around, and that's according to your AD.
Well, keep in mind, we let Jim Knowles leave. We let him leave. We let him leave.
Here we go.
We let his ass walk. Matt Patricia earned the deal. I'm not mad about it. One of the best defenses in the country of all of college football last year. Nobody scored more than 20 points on them until the game that I shall not mention. But, we beat Michigan because of that defense. I'm not mad about it. Good job, Patricia. Don't fuck it up. Just don't go full Lions for a whole season. And I'll be fucking happy. He's better than Jim Knowles. I'd say that. You disagree, Mr. recently hired Jim Knowles?
I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. Matt Patricia so far has looked like one of the best coordinators in the country. I'm not going to disagree with that. But what I am going to disagree with is that y'all let him go intentionally.
Dude,
you did not. You did not. And you're saying that he's this terrible defensive coordinator. Okay,
no,
let's go back to 2024. Well, Red, tell me what Ohio State's defense was ranked nationally after the 2024 season. What was their ranking?
I don't remember.
Oh, great. It's number 1. They had the number 1 defense in the country in 2024. Oh, yeah, it was just 1 year. Okay, 2023, number 2. He had the number 2 defense that year, too. His worst year as Ohio State's defensive coordinator was number 24. Every year that he was Ohio State, top 25 defense. What are we doing here? I mean... Stop. Why is everybody endlessly just ragging on Jim Knowles? I don't understand. He was really, really good at Ohio State.
I'll tell you why. Because the fucker went to Happy Valley and betrayed us. That's really why we don't like his ass now. Because he left for the goddamn Nittany Lions and went to Happy Valley for more money. He wasn't loyal to the brand. I'm
glad you admit it. I'm glad you admit it because
I don't really give it.
Your fan base, give a shit about the guy. State's fan base. I don't get it. Everybody else has been telling us that we made a great hire at defensive coordinator. Penn State fans and Ohio State fans are the only ones running around going, "Oh, well, Tennessee just made the worst hire of all time."
Penn State fans have a reason, though.
50 points scored on them every single game. Come on.
Penn State has a good reason to be pissed off at Jim Knowles. They were fucking terrible on defense last year.
They knew what they were getting into. They knew exactly what they were getting into. Well, the year 1, they aren't going to have a number 1 defense. Year 1,
you just made the national semifinals the year prior. And you couldn't improve, and your team was mostly the same. Like, I'm sorry. That's bad.
It's not Jim Knowles' fault. Drew Aller can't throw a complete pass. That's not his fault.
Drew Aller got hurt, number 1. So we can't all put
the blame. Brook. It's the same thing. They're basically the same quarterback everywhere at Penn State.
Yeah, and Jim Knowles also allowed Nico, I'm going to leave you, to put up how many points on his fucking defense as Penn State coordinator?
No, I can't defend that one. You're not wrong.
Bingo. Thank you very much. Let's move on.
So one bad game. Yeah, you know what? Let's move on. Remember, guys, if your coordinator has one bad game, got to fire him and everybody else associated with him. All right, anyway.
Not one bad game, but, I'm happy we got Matt Patrician. I never thought I'd say that in my fucking life, actually. I like this guy. I like what Big Red Fro's thinking, or not Big Red Fro, Arctic Phoenix thinking over here. Knowles sabotaged them like Russo did to WCW. If you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly what the fuck he's talking about.
Yep. Ryan Gav with the 5. Good evening, gentlemen. Remember, no matter how bad your team is, it could always be worse. Could be Canada right now. Men and women lost to the USA.
Oh, Canada.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of other things, and then we'll get to the meat of our show with our special guest, Kirk Cignetti. We kind of expected this, but him and Indiana have agreed to yet another new contract, this time averaging $13.2 million per year. This contract runs all the way through 2033. So that is...
Oh, that's it?
7. Yeah, I know that's it. It's going to be longer before you know it.
10 years.
Yeah, it's going to be longer before you know it. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Before last season, I don't even think Indiana had that much money in their football program. And now here they are giving $13.2 million a year to Kirk Cignetti. They want him to stay no matter what, and I can't blame them.
No, I mean, shit. Are you kidding me? They paid the champions tax. Like every single time a major sports team wins a championship, you got to pay what's called the champions tax to your players returning, to your coaches returning. And Kirk Cignetti, by fucking far, deserves that money. I saw somebody comment on X saying that Indiana's going to regret that in 3 years when he's 7-9. And an Indiana fan went commenting on him. He was like, "Nah, we won't." He's like, "Okay, what would you say if next year Kirk Cignetti wins 7-5?" He said, "Build the statue." They don't care. They don't fucking care. Like they went 16-0, ran over all of college football to get there. They'll pay the fucking guy. Mark Cuban, Indiana alumni, he'll gladly fork over lots of money to make sure his ass is paid nice and happy.
Mm-hmm. Godus with the 2 says, "Please let Rice be mentioned."
Well, we just mentioned Rice.
Oh, man. Oh, you got to be down horrendous, man.
Yeah.
You had to send a super chat for Rice to be mentioned in any capacity.
You know what? I'm going to be fair here. Let's find the latest update on Rice football. Let's go digging deep. Latest Rice.
Yeah, I got you one.
football
They
news.
still suck. There you go.
Let's see here.
There you go.
5 things to watch for 2026 spring football practice. Okay, I'll do one thing to watch for. Oh, it's literally blank.
Cool. Yeah, look, that's how much this right here, that cat is how much the people care.
Yeah, like you want to see what your keys to success this spring are for Rice? Well, you're looking at him.
All right, great.
Sorry, Godis, I don't make the rules.
Okay, 2 more things real fast. This is interesting right here. NC State, they made a good move over this time period. They got themselves a new quarterback and 4-star Gunnar Rivers, who has committed to NC State. Now, in case you don't know the significance of that, Gunnar Rivers just so happens to be the son of NFL legend Phillip Rivers.
Oh, I was wondering why I heard that name somewhere. The first of 13 kids.
There you go. How about that?
Wow. You know what? If he's half as good as his dad, he'll be just fine. I promise you that, because he was great. He was an absolute legend when he played in college. Horribly underrated. Was overlooked by everybody. Came out of the draft and just ran roughshod in the NFL. So I wish him the best of luck. Will be interesting to see if he gets all that much playing time this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I doubt that, but
he would have to really show up.
Yeah, but if Dave Doran manages to last as long as he's able to get the starting job, then who knows? He might be the one to save him.
Hey, you know what? Dave Doran will be there so long, but Rivers is going to have 20 kids by the time he's finally done.
Yep. All right, and then last thing, real fast. So even though the season has been done for like a month and a half now, it does not mean all of the head coaches are done getting out. Northern Illinois head coach Thomas Hammock is officially leaving for an administrative offensive assistant role with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this comes as a big surprise since it was halfway through the season or the off season, and then suddenly he decided to dip. They've only got like a month and a half now to prepare for spring ball without their head coach. So could have left him in a really tough position, but he had a bad year last season. I guess this doesn't come as the biggest surprise.
I mean, you got to think about it here. When the world champion Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks call your name and offer you a job, I don't really care what your position is. If you're in the MAC, you're going. Or if I guess you're in the Mountain West now. If you are in college football, most coaches at that level in the group of 5, they'll take a job in the NFL. If that's what the ultimate goal is, that's what they'll do. I mean, good luck to them. No hard feelings. I'm sure Northern Illinois fans don't feel like too badly because, after all, it's not like you had a chance to get the job in January or December when Seattle was running through the playoffs. They weren't looking to hire back then. So it's unique when it comes to, the Super Bowl winning, Super Bowl playing teams, because you only had 2 teams still really looking for any sort of like refresh.
Right.
And it's rare when you get a Super Bowl winning team that's looking for any new head coaches. After that, well, I wouldn't say it's rare. You'll have some assistants fly the coop for head coaching positions usually, but that's it.
Yeah. Not much though, but yeah, no, definitely. What it does mean now is I get to make another coaching experience videos, and I did the math on this, Red. So I've got to make coaching experience videos for every coach that either got fired or moved to a different job in 2005.
Oh, you're fucked.
You want to you just take your guess. Take your guess at how many of those I've got to make over the offseason.
I'm gonna guess Baker's dozen, like 13.
Oh boy. 32.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be locked in, and I get to start with good old turkey man Brent Pry. So,
oh jeez. Well, have fun with that.
Thanks. Thank you very much. All right.
I'm gonna be roasting soon by the time we get that one done.
Yeah, right. I know. Enough of that, though. That's just a little bit of a teaser for future content. But we've got a special guest that's been very patiently waiting in the back room to come on here for tonight's show. And for those of you who are LSU fans, I think you're going to really like this guy. He's a big time YouTuber here on the YouTubes. Got a lot of subscribers. I think he's up to about 15,000. Yeah, and he's very active on Twitter as well. I'd like to welcome in Mr. Carter from Power Hour LSU. How are you doing, good sir?
Life couldn't be better. I'm with college football's greatest editor. I had no clue you were even a freaking Tennessee fan. How did I not know this? I just get lost in your edits that are totally unbiased. I appreciate you, Squidtard. I don't even know if that's an acceptable term, but we'll allow it.
CarterThePower Sports, yeah. You said it as I would.
And good to meet you, Red. Who do you support? I've never watched the live show. Who do you support? Oh my God, bless America.
Yeah.
From one toxic fan base to another, how do you do?
Yeah, I forgot in the bowl video you had a little cameo in there as well. Goodness gracious. Well, thanks for 2007 and the Brock. What was the quarterback's name? Brockman, number 17.
Poor guy doesn't remember.
Doesn't even remember a quarterback that played for the Natty. Dunny or that should be right up the. Well, it doesn't matter because I have a photo.
Damn.
I'm working on a Lane Kiffin video right now, and naturally, when you talk about Lane Kiffin and any sort of length of time, you got to talk about Jamarcus Russell and the Oakland Raiders. With this portion, for some reason, I kept on thinking back. I'm gonna have to talk about Jamarcus Russell smoking Ohio State in that national championship, but no, turns out that was a year before.
Yes,
that's crazy how good LSU was back then.
Right,
under that Les Miles era, that was nuts.
Yeah, so it was Jamarcus went number 1 overall.
Yep.
And Matt Flynn was the quarterback. And Matt Flynn in LSU circles is known as the quarterback that won LSU's second natty in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But in NFL circles, he's known for the QB that made $1 gazillion because Aaron Rodgers got hurt for a week. And he stepped in, and then the Seahawks signed him. And then Russell Wilson beat him out as a rookie. But Squid in particular, dude, I have a lot of respect for you. I really do, man. You've carved out this very interesting niche, whatever the word is, in sports media. And like the videos I've watched, dude, it's so creative how you go about like doing your videos. And I think, when you watch, when you reached out to me to be a part of the bowl video, I was like, man, let me see, because I didn't know a whole lot about you. And then I was like, dude, these videos are so engaging, and it matches the absurdity of this sport. This sport is supposed to be dumb. Now, you could take it serious. You could take it. I take it very serious with all the film breakdowns and all of it. But at its core, this sport is meant to lean into its absurdity. And I want everyone to or do you guys agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, after all, the only constant is chaos. That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, we call it FBS is fucking bullshit for a reason, right? Because that's exactly what the fuck happens every single season. There's about 100 things, or you could say there's just fucking bullshit. SEC refereeing, Ohio Stating, crazy bullshit on the Power Five and the Group of Five, I should say. Like it's a constant. Like he said, the only constant in college football is chaos, which you need to put that on a goddamn t-shirt, dude. It'll sell like gangbusters.
That's I'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
And it's so important to people. Like, I do NFL content as well. That's supposed to be straightforward, standardized, all of it. That's not what college football should be. And I'm glad that your content, Squid, like leans into that. I really do appreciate that. And it's also interesting because I do a lot of Tennessee videos on my SEC channel. So I have Power Hour SEC. So if you're not an LSU fan, go to Power Hour SEC. Released a long Gunnar Stockton film study today. I love the conference. I love the whole shenanigans that comes along with being an SEC fan. And the thing that I'm loving the most, especially since we do have one Big Ten guy and one SEC guy here, I love the fact that the SEC is going into this next year kind of in an underdog spot. We all know about the three natties being lost in a row. It makes you really excited that.
Oh, yeah, I know the Big Ten has run the college football world for at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, but what's really fucked up about that is that it's Ohio State and Michigan are 1 and 2. Yeah, but then Indiana just shows up out of fucking nowhere, with Kurt Signetti, and just absolutely goes on a tear. In the last 2 years, they've only lost 2 games, and both of them were in the season prior. So the conference at the Big Ten might be considered the top of college football. I don't really consider it to be the top of college football, because once you get past Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana, Oregon, what the fuck is there? Penn State or last season, and then a whole lot of mid, and then a whole lot of Rutgers and Northwestern. So there's just it's very top heavy. It's extremely top heavy. The SEC, even though the SEC's kind of been on a bit of a downturn, the one thing that the SEC kind of leaned on heavily, from what I could tell, the last especially towards the end of their run on college football before Nick Saban retired, is the depth of their rosters. You could take a guy out, put another guy in, and it's the exact same fucking team, if not maybe a little bit better. That's why you're never going to see in a national championship game ever again Nick Saban pulling out one quarterback and putting another quarterback in and still winning the motherfucker. You're never going to see anything that fucking nuts again, because you're not going to see teams that deep in college football ever again because of the transfer portal. It's changing the way not only how college football looks, but also how these conferences kind of run amongst themselves. It's caused a lot more parity, I feel like, in the SEC especially. And give it some time in the Big Ten, it's going to happen to us too.
Squid, let's if you don't, I know I'm on your channel,
Sure,
but I want to ask you a question.
Go right ahead.
So Aguilar, it happens. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How we feeling
About the future? Well, I don't know. I think here's what I do know. The defense isn't going to be useless next year. It was useless this year. Yeah, thanks to Tim Banks. Now he's Auburn's problem. They get to become the newest glass cannon of the conference. Congratulations. Yeah, but over here, I think the defense is going to be well more improved. So their over reliance on scoring is not going to be a necessity. However, in terms of the quarterback situation, it is an enigma at the current moment. The battle is going to be between two freshmen, one true freshman, one redshirt freshman. And then we have a backup from Colorado who's jumping in just in case both of them just happen to get injured or both of them suck. I don't really know what to expect. I mean, we are running with what I would think is one of the smarter offensive minds in the conference. So it's not like we're suddenly going to have the worst offense in the SEC. Josh Heupel's never going to have a year here in Knoxville or any year in any conference to where he has the worst offense in the country or the worst offense in the conference. But I'm expecting it to take a step back. I don't know. I'm not trusting the run game to ever turn back to what it was when we had Dylan Sampson. So I think we're going to be sort of a lot more like the 23-24 teams, to where we're sort of a defensive heavyweight and are relying way more on that than we are our offense.
Yeah, and I'm a big Heupel guy. I understand that last year was, as you pointed out, you didn't beat a team with a winning record, whatever the hell. Mm-hmm. I still do believe in him as a coach, and I hope they let George McIntyre cook next year. It was interesting. When I watched him for the first time, I was like, man, I really do think this guy is very good. When he visited LSU, I was like, man, let me go see what this guy has. And obviously his uncle is Mike McIntyre, who coached for a long time in CFB. And I do believe George can play well. It's just quarterback has been an old man's game. And I know this offense is a little bit more pluggish and playish for quarterbacks than other offenses, but yeah, I'm very worried about the Vols next year. I've developed a good relationship with a few Vols fans, a few players, and all of that. But I do want to give Josh the benefit of the doubt to see how this works. I like the fact they got Indiana's strength coach. I like some out-of-the-box things that they've done. So we'll see. But LSU plays Tennessee this year. I'm glad we will not be playing Joey Aguilar coming off a game versus Alabama and a game versus Texas. So it goes November bye week, LSU versus Alabama at home, LSU versus Texas at home, and then on the road to Knoxville, and then on the road to Arkansas. That road just got a whole heck of a lot easier with Aguilar, unless McIntyre turns into something truly special.
Right. My problem with McIntyre, where I think he can be, I think he can be a good quarterback, but the dude weighs like 80 pounds. You look at him and he's built like a skeleton. That's not me trying to rag on him or anything. That's literally what he looks like. So I think it's kind of like how Nico was going before the 2024 season. He came in and he was literally like 100 pounds. So I think he needs to focus on building some big time muscle. Somebody needs to get him a big bowl of ice cream or something. So put on some weight, and then because if he takes one of those big hits from like an SEC defensive lineman, like that's it. That's his season. He's not coming back from that. So I'm hoping that they'll work on that with him. But enough about Tennessee. We're on here. I wanted to ask your thoughts on LSU. What happened from your perspective? What in the world happened with LSU this year that they went so below expectations and BK got fired, all of that? What in the world do you think happened that caused all that?
Yeah, a lot of it was some laziness. Some of it was some bad injury luck. A lot of it, Squid, was that this was the worst LSU offensive line in the history of the program, at the very least, since the beginning of the modern era. Now we can get into all offensive lines aren't great. This could have been made a lot easier if Garrett was healthy and all of that. But not only that, it was a tough year for LSU defensively again versus mobile quarterbacks. So obviously the big thing was this was a team that was the single worst offense in the SEC compared to expectations by a wide margin. And then you look at the defense, they're very good. But versus some of the better quarterbacks, they had a tough go at it, in particular the ones that could run, most notably, obviously, Diego Pavia and Marcel Reed. So, and then, of course, Trinidad. But, a lot of it behind the scenes as well was just Brian Kelly not being what a lot of people thought he would be, which was super organized, a guy that was going to be on top of everything. Yeah, there you go. Iconic photo there. I was at that game. Here's the thing, though, that I hate to publicly admit all the time on my live shows, in my film studies, and all of those different things. Notre Dame fans were right. Notre Dame fans were right.
Ouch.
These despicable human beings, these holier-than-thou golden domers were right about Brian.
That was
fucking bastards.
That really stings. Anytime you got to admit a Notre Dame fan is right, yeah, you're cool.
Yeah.
God, and I was like, I defended Brian Kelly when Irish Domer 36986 on Twitter was like, this guy doesn't work hard. I was like, well, you're right, Mr. Domer. You're right on the money about that. And I hate Notre Dame with every bit of my being now because they were too cool for the Toaster Strudel Bowl. And that to me is a sin that you need to repent for, Notre Dame fans. Drives me absolutely insane. But they're right about Brian Kelly. And there's plenty of receipts on this. I've done a lot of stupid things online. I've said a lot of stupid things online. I will tell you this with my whole heart. When this job was open, Lane Kiffin was my number one candidate. So it's crazy to think about that You have another opportunity at this guy. And I see you shaking your head, Red. Well, what's this all about, man?
I am currently in the middle of an absolute shit show of a production on Lane Kiffin, and
That's the only name he's been hearing for like the past 3 weeks.
No, not 3 weeks, 3 months. I've been working on his ass 3 months. You, Power Hour, I know you're not very familiar with my channel. I actually made a full-on video talking about the collapse of LSU from the national championship in 2019 all the way to when Brian Kelly got fired. And I mean, number one, check that out whenever you get a free time. It's only about a half hour or so. Tell me how good it is and how accurate it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah,
but besides that, unfortunately, it's kind of like I already hated Brian Kelly because I'm from the Cincinnati area in Ohio. And unfortunately, Cincinnati got a nice little taste of Brian Kelly prior to Notre Dame when he took him to the fucking Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl before he fucked off in the middle of the night to Notre Dame like a goddamn coward. So I'm very familiar with his fucking ass. And to see them go Brian Kelly out because he was everything that they thought that did not represent LSU. So then bringing in Lane Kiffin, a guy that genuinely doesn't fit in fucking anywhere in terms of the culture, in terms of the attitude, in terms of personality. He genuinely looks like as soon as he gets off the plane, like an awkward dad showing up to a dance site, like, hey, I'm so happy to be here. Where's my paycheck? Like, it's so fucking stupid. And that's the way it was when he left Ole Miss. That's the way it looked when he came to LSU. The only difference is that he didn't go into the middle of a basketball arena and give a half-ass Cajun accent like some fucking country bumpkin.
Well, that does bring up the Texas Bowl. I'm sure you've seen it, Power Hour, the Texas Bowl. Lane Kiffin showed up at the beginning of that game, waved to everybody, and then left in the middle of the third quarter.
Yes.
He went in his limo and bailed on out of there before the end of the game. I didn't even want to watch it.
Yeah, that's just some of the things and that just tells me that he has not changed. I'm scared for LSU fans, and that should say something coming from a Buckeye to an LSU fan. I'm scared for you guys because I feel like y'all are about to get Jimbo'd with Lane Kiffin.
This is either going to be the best thing to happen to LSU's
we just
program
got
or the worst.
Jimbo'd.
Yeah, you're about to get Jimbo'd again.
Oh, we're going to get
double fucking Jimbo'd.
Oh my God.
I will say, I think this is going to be either the best thing to happen to LSU or the worst. It's going to, there's no gray area with this.
God.
I mean, like at the end of the day, it's just a part of that downhill slide that we saw from LSU after they won the national title in 2019. That began with the COVID year, and they lose some of their best players because they sit out the bullshit with Ed Ogeron, and it continues to slide down the infighting with the athletic director to then firing Ogeron, bringing in Brian Kelly, who does actually fuck all to support his team and just has all of his assistants do all the hard work. And he's just kind of around while sipping wine in his fancy little boathouse with all of his New England buddies. So it's just, it's not so much like, oh, Lane Kiffin's coming in here to break the mold. Oh no, he fits right into the mold. As a matter of fact, the mold's a little too big for him.
All right.
But you tell me, how confident do you feel? Because obviously one season's not going to make or break this guy's career at LSU. I give him at least 2. Before
I think Lane Kiffin's a special football coach. I do.
Special's a word.
Yeah. How many football coaches have been better than him over the past couple of seasons?
I'm not gonna lie, his work at Ole Miss, impressive. He did really, really good at Ole Miss because that is a program that literally since the early 60s had fucking not much of anything. Like they would have the occasional 10-win season, come out of the woodwork from nowhere.
Yeah.
They'd either get slammed on NCAA probation and sent back to hell where they fucking belong. So,
yeah, I think he's at bare minimum, he's a top 5 coach in the conference. I don't think there's any debate on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm afraid of is people go back to see, like, what's his overall career accomplishments? Oh, he's won national championships. Yes. As an assistant coach.
Yeah, see, this is the same mistake people made with BK. Is that they saw all of his accolades from the past, and LSU fans, it's like the first year BK was there, LSU fans, a lot of LSU fans are like, oh, well, the sky's the limit. BK could take us to the national championship within the first year of being there, and then he loses to Florida State to start the 2022 season. So now they're doing the same thing with Kiffin. Oh, the sky's the limit with Kiffin. We're better than everybody else. The SEC's ours. We're going to win the national championship. Then you play Clemson. You might lose to Clemson at the start of the year. You never really know.
That's going to be a toss-up, though. I mean, Clemson was
no doubt.
It was a train wrek with Clemson. I got a little more faith in them than that. Look, Power, just tell us straight up, man. Like, if you like Lane Kiffin, like, just give us your reasons. Like, what do you think is going to be so different about Lane Kiffin here now that he's no longer at Ole Miss? Now he's coming into LSU, starting fresh there. I really want to know.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the hardest things to do in college football is just move the football, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen explosive plays go down. We've seen possessions go down. And despite that, Ole Miss's offense has remained consistently explosive. He's done this with 3 separate quarterbacks. And during that time period, he was the only coach in the SEC to average 6.2 yards per play in each of the last 6 seasons, which is extremely difficult to do in the Southeastern Conference. It's difficult to do just in general. Now, my 6.2 important. That seems like it's a very arbitrary number, but that's normally around where the top 30 or so teams rank. And normally, if you average 6.2 college yards per play, you're a college football playoff team. Most college football playoff teams are in that range. And I think that will translate over to LSU with what they brought in with Sam Levitt, what they brought in with Jordan Seaton, especially if he improves as a run blocker, especially if Levitt is a guy that's going to maintain his healthiness. It's going to be a great running back room he's going to work with, obviously, this year. And you then go over to the defensive side of the football where LSU was able to do a lot of damage in the transfer portal. They get Whit Weeks back. They maintain continuity on that defensive side of the football. You do have a new kicker that you're going to break in and so many other different questions. And then, of course, you have the 9-game conference schedule and so on and so on. The truth is, what makes you think he's not going to have success outside of the toughening depth of the SEC in terms of not only good teams with resources that have new blood as well. On top of that, with the conference getting tougher with the extra conference game and the playoff field not expanding, it is going to be even harder to make the college football playoff. But I believe Lane is good enough to do that at LSU, especially if it goes to 16. I would expect LSU to be in the playoff no less than 2 out of every 3 years.
Okay. And that's all really, really sound. If I'm going to break it down, like a little more specific about my doubts, Lane, one thing I've always heard from Lane Kiffin and a lot of the jobs he worked at is he would always complain about he never had enough resources to win. Okay. Now he's at a place where he literally has everything. LSU has some of the best of the best of the best you can get, from nutrition to the weight room. They have it all, right? Now, it could be argued that Ole Miss probably was damn near had it all too, but damn near and having it all are 2 different things. Next thing I'm going to say is LSU, historically speaking, the last couple of years, atrocious at running the ball. Atrocious. They have not been able to move the ball. They have not been able to do that at all. And why is that? Is it because of generation after generation of teams failing to compete because of, say, Brian Kelly? No. It goes back to Ed Ogeron. So it's like it's going back multiple years. It all starts with the big boys up front, the big uglies. As a former college football playing offensive lineman myself, I know that, and even at the deep 3 level, it begins and ends with an offensive line that can actually play well and work together as a unit. And even in nowadays in college football, it's extremely hard to have a really solid offensive line up front year after year because of the transfer portal, because of NIL, and bringing in a whole new system and network of coaches and all new players coming in. Even with spring camp and no worries about a spring transfer portal happening in May, it's still going to be a little bit tough to get everybody to gel together. Is it possible?
But you could say that about every team.
Honestly. Yes, you're not wrong. It could happen to anybody. That's what I'm saying. Is it possible for that to happen? Yeah, sure. It's LSU, for God's sake. They're in one of the best, most fertile grounds of college football talent in the country. Louisiana, criminally underrated when it comes to finding the best football players. Without a doubt. Most years, I feel like they're probably one of the top places in the country to find blue chip stars. But they got to hold on to them. Lane Kiffin's got to be able to hold on to these players. He's got to gain the trust of these players. And that's only something you're going to be able to find out with time. So you can come in, you can have the top transfer recruiting class. You can do this in NIL. You can bring in a lot of flash and a lot of media attention. But you got to win. And a lot of the times, a lot of the times when he goes into a place that has the resources to win, he just hasn't done it.
Yeah.
So those are my concerns. Historically
Yeah.
speaking, he just can't do it. If he is able to do it at LSU, hey, I'll shut the fuck up and eat a plate of crow. But he's got to prove it.
Yeah, but I mean,
right.
he's such a drastically different coach
Yes.
than what he is now. And look, I understand I got LSU stuff in the background and all of that, but you know, I've called out bad hires at LSU. I was on the Brian Kelly train. I did not think Matt House was a good DC. So I will say when I'm not a fan of the hire, but I couldn't have been a bigger fan of Lane actually being hired. Now, to your point, Red, the 2024 Ole Miss team was a big waste. And that was a team that I personally thought was the third best team in college football the year behind Ohio State and Oregon. I thought that was the best team in the SEC that year. That was a team that beat everybody they played by double digits. And in the 3 losses that they had, one, of course, was to LSU. They were all close, but they were games that they probably shouldn't have lost. Kentucky being one of them.
Away, yeah.
Right. So, you know, I think if Lane was sitting right here, he would say, yeah, I wasted that really, really, really good roster. But in the very next year, and I still think that Ole Miss team should have gotten into the playoff. I said it at the time. I was one of the most vocal SEC critics at the time, saying that Ole Miss was the best team. I still think they should have gotten in with 3 close losses. I'm a big believer in actually looking at the games and how they were played. Because like we said earlier, college football is a very wacky thing. I thought Ole Miss should have gotten in. And then the very next year, what does Lane do? He takes this team to a 1-loss college football playoff berth, avenging the loss that they had earlier in the year, and they lose a close playoff game versus Miami. And Lane's coaching job this past year was nothing short of spectacular. I think, you know, so much has been made of Trinidad being a D2 guy, but I mean, he's just special. Yeah, he's just a really good quarterback.
I don't give a shit what division you come from. If you got the talent, you can play ball, man. You fucking belong, and he fucking belongs.
Right,
for sure. Real quick before we continue, I wanted to shout out some members real fast. Alex Joannig, thank you for becoming a member of Tardaria, much appreciated. Then special shout out to Bulldog, Mississippi, giving away 5 Squidtard Sports memberships. Welcome all of you to the Legion of Tardaria. Welcome. All right, sorry to pause.
No. But I did want to ask you. So now I got to compliment a Mississippi State fan. This is just getting
yeah, right. So I do want to ask a question in regards to this past year. We talked about what went wrong with LSU, and a lot of that was definitely on the coaching and the offensive line. But Garrett Nussmeier came into this year or last year as like one of the top Heisman favorites, and he never came close to that. In fact, he got benched halfway through the season for Michael Van Buren, the transfer from Mississippi State. So I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think went wrong with Nussmeier? Was it all on the line, or was it in fact something else?
Yeah, some of it was injuries. Now, do I think some of this injury stuff was a little overplayed? Maybe so. You know, there was different opinions on that, because if you're hurt and it's bothering you so much, then don't go out there, right? There was people that felt that, hey, we like the fact that you're toughing it out, but if you can't, you know, hit a vertical ball, you know, I spoke to a wide receiver for LSU earlier tonight on my show, Chris Hilton, and there was instances where Chris would get open and Garrett just didn't have the oomph that he used to have when it comes to delivering those deep balls. That's part of it. But this was the worst offensive line I've ever seen at LSU. And the thing about it is Garrett had one of the best pressure to sack ratios in college football the year before. And then this following year, he really struggled with sacks. And that was because the offensive line literally was getting beat that quickly. And then obviously the play calling wasn't great. You know, Joe Sloan goes from where he was at LSU, and now he'll be the offensive coordinator for Kentucky. I still think Will Stein will call the plays there, but a lot of that was play calling. But overall, Garrett still could have played better, even if you factor in the injuries, even if you factor in the offensive environment. I saw Nino, or it was Mr. Clay who brought up who was the last grade running back at LSU. Well, they have good running backs. Caden Durham was dealing with some injuries, but he had no holes really to run through. Then Harlan Berry really brought it towards the end of the year, the 5-star. So this running back room should be pretty good moving forward. But Squid, there's been a lot of people that have brought up why in the world was the LSU offense so putrid. A lot of it was just a lot of everything just being flat out ass. Now, I will say, LSU does return a really good tight end and Trey Green as well that, I eloquently brought up in Squid's video. He is a unbelievable red zone weapon, and if he can block some, he's going to really put up some big numbers next year for Lane Kiffin.
Oh, wait, you brought that's not the only. I mean, that's the only guy that's sticking around. You guys brought basically a brand new team out of the transfer portal, starting with Sam Levitt. He's gonna do some serious work there for you. And then on top of that, you basically filled every position on your team with transfers, really good players. So realistically, this LSU team, at least for this season, is going to be really good
on paper.
On paper, sure. I think, for this year, it's playoffs or bust for LSU. No denying that.
Yeah.
My concern for LSU is not this year, but rather the consistency that comes. And I said consistency. Shoot, I don't have the thing up. We have a joke with James Franklin about consistency.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. But my concern is like the year after this year, and a lot of those transfers either go to the draft or graduate or whatever they decide to do, or go to another school. Because you're gonna, no matter how good you are this year, LSU could go like Indiana, go 16-0, win the national championship. You're gonna have transfers. Some of those transfers are going to be impactful. You're gonna get guys coming in. You're gonna get some coming out. You're gonna get a lot of them graduating, moving on. My concern for Lane Kiffin is not necessarily bringing in guys because he's got the personality. He's going to bring guys in no matter what. But my concern is keeping them around. Recruiting is a concern. A lot of that does go into it. But the thing is, if he's got a problem with recruiting, he's in the wrong place because LSU is one of the greatest hotspots for recruiting. It's like LSU in terms of recruiting is on the level of that Atlanta pipeline with Georgia and Georgia Tech and some of those other schools. You're in one of the greatest hotspots for recruiting because there's so many guys around that Louisiana area who live and breathe football. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I think if he plays his cards right, he is going to thrive with Louisiana or with LSU. It's just rather, and a concern too for LSU fans is whether or not he actually stays there because I've seen LSU. Go ahead.
Let me push back on a few things there because I've heard that same thing as well about, well, what if Lane Kiffin jumps from this job to the next? And you said a minute ago, I'm concerned about the next year instead of this year with all the money being into this roster. And that's true. It could get very volatile. But that is the sport of college football now. This is a volatile sport. It is no longer the stacking of recruiting classes. We were just talking about the lack of depth. Unless you are Ohio State, unless you are Georgia, where your high school recruiting is so unfreaking believably good, your development is so freaking good, you have such a great identity with youthful rosters and all of that. This is a year-to-year sport. And the one thing I've been doing is going on a crusade, pushing back on this idea that we can predict anything 2 years from now. We used to be able to do that in college football just by watching the recruiting classes stay in, and when the portal wasn't what it is, and the NIL culture and what we deal with now in the portal culture and people jumping from school to school to school to school. Well, over the past couple of years, LSU's actually done a better job of retaining players, even under Brian Kelly, when things were rocky and actual players saw some of the things that were actually happening behind the scenes. I expect LSU's retention to overall still, maintain itself. LSU's not had a lot of their better players leave. We've seen other schools have that happen to them. LSU has definitely done a better job of that, and I think with Lane, they're going to do a better job of that as well. And it is still wild to me that LSU did what it did just now. It is insane to me that in this sport, where it used to be you literally could not sign more than 25 total players. We're talking about total. We're talking about high school kids and collegiate transfers. Now it's, in the quote of the famous philosopher Russell Wilson, it is Mr. Unlimited now in college football. You could sign as many human beings to come in and come out. I just think that this sport is going to maintain its volatility. So, while I continue to get a lot of these DMs and questions from LSU fans and outsiders, hey, what is he going to do when he leaves you for Alabama or the NFL or whatever? It's like, well, what do we know? I mean, who's going to? What are we going to know 2 or 3 years from now in this sport? So I'm leaning into the volatility, and I think Lane is going to win pretty big at LSU.
I mean, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, if there's one thing you can develop really well in college football, it's definitely volatility. And by the way, he said the thing. So,
I did it before you did.
Development.
Development.
So, no one said it better than the Desert Rat Dead Mullen himself. Yeah. I mean, if you are LSU, honestly, the best thing you could do at this point in time is just embrace the chaos. Like, embrace the fact that this roster of guys you got this year, you're probably only going to have for this year. So make the most of it. Gives everybody a sense of urgency. Gives everybody a real drive of like, hey, we got to do this shit because we're not going to get another chance next year because who the fuck knows who's still going to be here. And that's just the way it is right now. Not saying it's the way it should be, but you put that sense of urgency in a football team, they are either going to perform or they are going to crumble. You're either going to perform like Indiana or crumble like Penn State when you're put under that much pressure to get the fucking thing done. So is LSU going to be Indiana or are they going to be Penn State? It is yet to be seen.
I want to ask you something, Squid.
Sure.
I have gone back and forth on how I feel about the playoff. All right. So a 24-team playoff makes you say what?
No. If I had to answer it in one word, it would be no. I always thought that they were a little too quick to jump to a 12-team playoff. I was under the impression that it should have been 6 because the college football playoffs should be it's not an invitation for all the teams. Like, no, but here's the thing. People say, oh, well 24 teams, that'll make better games. That'll make more games. It's like, well, let me ask you this. Do you want to see an 8-4 Iowa get shit canned by Ohio State every single playoffs? No, of course not.
Yeah.
The playoffs should be reserved for the best teams who have had the best seasons, who are competing for a national championship. And then you have the group of 5 teams in there. So that's where that should be where it stands. 12 teams, the 12 best teams with maybe a group of 5 team in there. So that the little guy gets a chance. Maybe they go on a run, maybe not. More often than not, they won't, but at least they'll get that chance. And that's the main reason we extended to 12 teams anyway, was to give the little guys a chance, to give the teams like 13-0 Florida State who got left out, or a team that loses one game, because it makes sense. If you shouldn't be left out of competing for the championship if you come short in one single game by 3 points. And that's happened to some teams back in the BCS and 14 playoff era. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But now we're in the 12-team playoff. There's 12 spots. You can lose 2 games, not just 1, but 2 games during the regular season, and then still make it into the college football playoffs. In some cases, you could lose 3. You can lose 3 games in the college football season, and then still make the college football playoffs. I think past that point, if you don't make the 12-team playoffs, you just aren't good enough. That's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I like it. Even though it's funny. A 12-team playoff or an expanded playoff helps LSU and Tennessee quite a bit. You know, if we go to 24, it helps our programs out because LSU is normally a team in that 12 to 15 kind of range, and Tennessee is normally somewhere in that range as well, maybe a little bit further back. So Squidtard, you're a 24-teamer helps out your Vols, man, and you're still against it.
Well,
yeah, I don't care because
here's the
reality is if a 2014 playoff, say this year's Tennessee team gets into a 2014 playoff, they wouldn't make it far. They'd probably just be a first round exit. Most of those teams that aren't good enough to make the 12-team playoff would be. More often than not, that's exactly where they'd be. If BYU were to enter this last year's playoffs, I don't think they would have gotten far.
no.
I mean, there's no guarantee. That's why we play the games. But it's also why we play the regular season games as well. And if you weren't good enough to win those, chances are you're probably not good enough to win the rest of them once you actually get into the big dance.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, there's not the reason you expand the playoff. It isn't because you're trying to make the argument of, oh, you want to see more great football games. How many first round games have been fucking blowouts? A lot, right? And that's in the 12-team system. So don't lie. Don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. You're just doing it because you want more money. Say it with me, kids. Money talks. Bullshit walks. So, like,
well, I thought you were gonna say the talent fee walks.
well, that's the fine
that's
for our show.
Yeah, that's just for our show.
Yeah,
but
money
the
talk.
talent
What
fee
does that
does
mean?
indeed walk for
What
for
does
some
this
of
mean?
us.
The money talk, the talent fee walks. What does that mean?
Well, Tennessee has a little nickname for the tax hike they put on their ticket sales called the talent fee, so they can get more NIL players into their system. And Squid just won't
Really?
ever shut the fuck up about it.
Because
he's so salty.
it's as useless as it sounds. and that's
right.
exactly why.
But that's like the whole thing. Like, it's always been about money. Ever since they realized, hey, shit, a national championship game, you could sell a lot of fucking tickets to that. It's always been about the goddamn money.
And from the fan perspective, they're hiding the real reason too. They say it's for the better games, but you're only hearing this from fan bases with teams not good enough to make it in, especially from like
Right.
Notre Dame. You go back to Alabama back in 24, that they needlessly cried and complained for a year on end for losing 3 games. Chances are, look, if you get blown out by a 6-loss Oklahoma and a 6-loss Vandy, chances are you ain't doing nothing once you actually make it to the playoffs. So, like, come on, just keep it real here. It's if you don't make the 12-team playoff, you just aren't good enough. It's as simple as that. We don't need to expand any further. If there's any changes that need to be made to the playoffs, we need to make the playoffs itself smaller so that way all the bowl games will matter a little bit more than they do. Because I mean, the reality is nobody cares right now about the bowl games.
The bowl games are a whole nother Pandora's box that we could absolutely tear into for another hour, Squid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
nothing that college football does with the playoff system is going to save the bowl system. Josh Pate on Pate State's podcast, they came up with the radical idea of just putting bowl games as the de facto week 0. So that way they actually fucking matter and make it like a 13th game for teams that earned it, which is what they kind of used to do anyway, way back in the 90s and the aughts. In the early aughts, they would have their kickoff classics be held on week 0. Ohio State won the 2002 national title going 14-0. It wasn't because they won the Big Ten championship game. They didn't have a Big Ten championship game. They went 13-0 in the regular season because they got to play a week 0 game against Texas Tech.
Yeah, speaking of which, the conference championship games they're starting to matter less too now. We saw it with Alabama and Georgia. They do matter to some capacity, hence why Bama wasn't kicked out for getting blown out in the SEC championship. Because that's the main thing Notre Dame fans are pissed about, was the fact that they left Bama in after taking that 3rd loss. Well, they lost in the conference championship. How many conference championships has Notre Dame won? A big fat donut, because they are in a conference.
But they are 0-1 randomly enough.
That's funny enough, yeah. Winless all time. Good job.
dude,
It's worse than just being in none.
I just want people to understand like how important everything in sports is when it comes to branding and the actual words, right? And this would be the biggest thing I'd want to share with your audience is I hate the word regular so much because it's done so much damage to college football and sports in general. Because regular describes the season, right? It's regular season. And then we have the playoffs. Playoffs just rolls off the tongue a whole lot easier. But we need to, as a college football nation, to understand that the regular season is actually the special season. It's actually what makes college football so unfreaking believably great. I love the fact that, and I hate to say this, Squidtard, because this is a reference I always make, is that Tennessee on a random night in Columbia, South Carolina, had their playoff hopes dashed. You know, that game mattered a lot. I think that's awesome. I really do. I think it's awesome that all these games matter so much. And I understand that there were so many disappointed that the Heisman runner-up didn't get in Diego Pavia, and they only had 2 losses, and those losses weren't too bad. And then you had, obviously, Notre Dame not get in, and they had an impressive 10 straight win season. But I actually like the fact that they didn't get in. I like the fact that teams we consider to be good didn't actually get into the field. That lets me know that that field is truly exclusive, right? Yeah, James Madison shouldn't have been in, and Notre Dame should have been in, and so on and so on. I get that. But the point, though, is when I go out with a bunch of friends, I don't want the group to be too big. I'm glad that Chris got left out. I'm happy he did.
Damn, Chris, you gonna take
Chris,
that?
You're cool. You would be. It would have been fine, but I'm okay that you weren't there. It's better to have too few than too many when it comes to entertainment, and I truly do believe when we stretch this to 16, which I think is inevitable, it's going to hurt the sport quite a bit. But if you go to 24, you're probably going to lose me. I really do mean it.
Yeah, I mean, people are arguing. That's a good point you make, because I mean, what's the one thing we heard the most about bowl games prior to them being like, oh, they're irrelevant now? There's too many bowl games,
right?
You know, so like you make the kitchen too big. It's no longer a kitchen. It's just a big ass cooking hall, and that's not special, right? So
Right.
I'm fully with you guys. I don't think the Big Ten's idea of a 24 team playoff in any way, shape, and form makes sense unless you drastically, and I mean drastically, change the season by eliminating conference championship games, potentially adding another 2 weeks of games, making week 0 week 1, eliminating that second bye week in the middle of the season to make the regular season matter more. Like you would have to do a lot of shit to make it matter. And at the end of the day, you're still going to kill the bowl system. It's still not going to be your grandpa's college football, because your grandpa's college football was different than your dad's college football. You're different from your brother's college football, your older brother's college football, different from yours. Hell, college football for me now is different for my son than it was for me when I was a boy. So like every 10 to 20 years, the game is going to change. Now, whether or not it changes for the better, that's the important bit. And that's why we all passionately debate about it online until our fucking thumbs fall off.
Red, I like you, man. I didn't think I'd ever
appreciate
like
that.
an Ohio State fan, but here we are, man. Are you like that other? Are you like that other Ohio State fan that brings his dog everywhere?
Well, my dog actually has been on stream a couple of times, but I don't genuinely bring him everywhere. He's not in the room with me right now.
He's like my cat Smokey. He just shows up when he wants.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
Smokey.
pretty much. He'll occasionally stick his head up like, "Oh," and I'm just gonna be like, okay, Chief, here you go. No, I try to keep pretty level head. I'm not one of the Squid likes to pretend I'm one of those like clueless diehard Buckeyes that just will not stop sucking Brutus's dick all day
That's
long.
a lie.
But I have a limit. I will
Okay.
I will have a limit. Okay. I will call out their bullshit I've talked to guys on the Ohio podcast. Shout out to the boys, by the way. They're great. Who are diehard Buckeyes. And I know what it looks like when a Buckeye fan has just lost their cool. I always try to keep myself grounded. For example, I love that Urban Meyer won us a national championship, but fuck Urban Meyer. I think he's a deplorable human being. That's just me. Okay, not that nuts.
I'm not much of an Urban guy, but it was crazy how good he was at Florida, and it's nuts because Urban won the Natty at Ohio State, and he was a phenomenal coach at Ohio State, and you see a lot of what he did through Ryan Day and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
What I would also say, though, is it's still crazy how much Urban's victory over Ohio State at Florida, like, just completely changed college football. Like, that was when so much of the SEC Big Ten narrative, flipped in the SEC's favor. Yeah. I still, because I was in high school when that game happened, and I was like, damn, dude, the SEC might truly be that much better.
Yeah.
Which is why I've had my qualms with Greg Sankey. I don't think Greg likes me because I did my radio show at SEC Media Days a long time ago, and I was a young dude that got a radio show way too quick out of college.
Yep.
And I had a lot of experience. I thought I was a good radio host and all of that. And one thing that was a hit was I was asking all of my guests to do a freestyle rap. I had a little, not a generic, generic beat there.
This isn't gonna end well.
And Greg Sankey was on there, and I was like, well, I can't not ask him to do it if everyone else. If I've asked I'm not gonna. Who knows? Greg might have a cipher in him, So I asked him, and I completely blanked out. I don't even remember what he said. It was something along the lines of, "Well, I'm the commissioner of the SEC, and I don't do that."
Yeah, you do.
Fucking SEC commissioner card on your ass.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. And the funny thing was, I was like, I wonder if I still have audio of I've not publicly talked about this in a while.
Man.
But I did find my old SoundCloud, and for me to unearth this audio, I would need to pay $15. And I was like, is it really worth me listening? Do you think I should spend the 15 to see if Saint can go with?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Fuck. It's not every day you get to talk to the commissioner of the SEC, for God's sake. It's so worth it.
This was like 6, 7, or 8 years ago, something like that.
Who cares? Who fucking cares?
The guy that gave the best rap actually was an executive for Chick-fil-A for the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
What?
Gary Stoken.
What can I say, guys? What can I say?
No, the Chick-fil-A cup right there.
Donate and fund the Chick-fil-A milkshake fund. Not sponsored. Unless you want it to be Chick-fil-A, call us.
Not officially sponsored by SquidTard Sports. Thank you very much.
Oh, dude. Gary Stoken brought the heat. But here's what I would say before I skedaddle here, and that is the whitest word I use. Skedaddle's the best white word ever made.
Hey, I say it too, so I'm right there with you on that.
I'm whiter than all of y'all.
You skedaddle too?
Shit.
Yeah, of course I do. I've said it here on stream before. Whenever we said it, like, all right, guys, got to Seattle. Red, say what you got to say, and then he's like, "Go Buckeyes."
I've never said that at the end of the show, motherfucker. But I'm whiter than both of y'all, and y'all is the whitest thing I fucking say.
Y'all, okay?
Yeah,
that's. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. But before I skip, here's what I would do if Greg Sankey just happened to be watching this glorious stream of
I hope
misfits here. I would tell the SEC, yeah, I know some of you aren't happy that you got to play this 9th conference game. Mm-hmm. I know some of the ADs that didn't want it, and they were very vocal about this. You're obviously getting paid. This is the SEC where it means more. But I literally would, if I was Sankey, go look at these coaches and these athletic directors and say, this is truly the first time that people are doubting the conference. They're down you. And this time it's actually true, right? There's always been SEC haters and SEC doubters that have pushed back against the narrative, including yourself, right? And I have done that. I feel like I've been mostly fair, even though, I am an SEC guy and have a channel with the letters SEC in it. Yeah, I could be a little SEC homerish at times. But I would do and it's not, I wouldn't go quite to the Nolan Smith. They're telling you you're going 7-5. I wouldn't go to like that level of hyperbole, but I would, as the commissioner, say, hey guys, they're doubting you. They're doubting you. The people believe the Big Ten is better. They have won 3 straight national championship games. They think you're bitching and moaning too much about playing one extra measly conference game. Go out there and prove their asses wrong. And I think a lot of these younger SEC coaches would say, yeah, let's take on this challenge. Let's show the world that we are the best conference. Because last year it was not the best year. I know a lot of people point out the bowl season, but the games themselves, while they were exciting, I felt like the level of play wasn't the best. I felt like the coaching wasn't the absolute best. I think Georgia's one of the weaker SEC champions we've had in a while. So I would tell the conference, hey, get out there and show the world what you're really working with and show the world that you are indeed the best conference.
All right.
Well said.
You said it best. Before we skedaddle on out of here, Power Hour, we need to know. So we did this with Urinating Tree when he was on here 2 weeks ago, and I got to give your thoughts. Got to hear your thoughts on this. Ohio State fan, Tennessee fan, you know that by now. Give your prediction. Well, first off, let's hear your prediction on LSU. What? Just throw out a record where you think LSU is going this year in a regular season.
Yeah, I think they're a 9-3 team. I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
About where they're
That's a fair prediction, a humble prediction.
You're one Kiffin. Yeah. Okay, nice. All right. So what about Ohio State? What do you think their record's going to be this upcoming year?
Oh, we're talking about the Fighting Jeremiah Smiths. We're talking about
motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
got more than Jeremiah Smith. Come on now.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the first name that comes out of your mouth, obviously. I've not done a deep dive on your defense. I think Caleb Downs is one of the best college football players I've ever seen. And then I was like, let me see if the Zarville Reese guy is actually good. And I was like, damn, Marvell. But obviously, if you're an NFL draft guy, I am. You know that is. You're also replacing Styles. Are you replacing both the Styles?
I don't know off the top of my head. At least one of them's getting replaced.
Yeah. So the linebacker's gone. The corner, who I like, number 3. I don't know if he's gone or not. But overall, I think Ohio State. I've not really looked at their schedule a whole lot. Let's go 10-2 for the Buck. The
okay.
Buckeyes.
We do got to play on the road against Indiana. That's going to be a tough one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be hard.
So that's going to be a game of the season kind of scenario.
10-2 for Ohio State. All right. What about my Volunteers?
Oh God,
man, what you got for us?
No, I don't have my freaking schedule in front of me because
you don't need. Just tell me what.
No,
you think
that's not how this is. This is not how this is going to work because
he's got to break it down so he can properly smoke your ass like a stogie.
All right.
It's because listen, Squid. It's because I actually do get paid to do Tennessee. You didn't know that prior to this, probably, but I don't want a Tennessee fan to be watching. Okay, there we go. All right,
there we go. There's your schedule.
Okay. All right. The Fighting Furman Paladins.
Yeah, he's fucked in that game. Furman's gonna wipe their asses with the Volunteers.
I used to do radio where Furman is located.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, it's Greenville, Spartanburg. Let's go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's go W on the road versus the Haynes Kingsless Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Let's go W there. So you start off 3-0. Texas is an L. And that's too basic. Let's go 4-0 Tennessee. You get it done versus Texas.
Wow. What's that?
So you play Auburn 5-0. At Arkansas, it's a tough place. It's a tough place to play. You lose to the Hogs for the first game of the year. You're 5-1.
Losing to Max Gilbert.
Even though Arkansas, I think, is the worst team in the SEC going into next year.
I'd rather lose to Georgia again, man.
Brutal.
Alabama, you get it done, and then you go to South Carolina, who I'm a little bit higher on than most. I think Kendall Browse is going to get that train moving there with the Norris, and you lose that game. So you lose your 2 road games there.
Oh my God, Squid! If that actually happens, man, I'm sending your ass whiskey because you're going to be on the fucking roller coaster from hell through September and early.
I'd have to whip out the shine at that point.
Because that October is going to be terrible.
You guys own the Kentucky Wildcats. We know that. You go to Texas A&M. That's obviously as brutal as it gets. Hopefully that's a day game. So you lose that one. So that's 3 losses. LSU comes to town.
Ooh. England. That's not an easy win.
It's not. LSU has arguably the 2 best teams in this conference in the weeks prior to that. I still will go LSU getting it done. And then at Vanderbilt, you win that one. So Tennessee is an 8-4 team next year. The Fighting George McIntyres or Faison Brandons. I think I hated it that last year we didn't get to see a Hood McCoy cornerback duo. That would have been one of the nastiest corner duos in SEC history.
Oh yeah.
And it is funny because I think we tend to overrate if this guy was healthy kinds of things. But the game that I just think about all the time, the one that has stuck with me this entire season, and I'm not just saying this, Squidtard, just to say it, but I'm going to say it because I am in your glorious presence, was the Georgia loss. And it literally put college football on its head, that loss. Because, yeah, you know, you look, did Tennessee end up not being that great of a team? Sure, we could say that. But the Oklahoma game was fluky. That was a very fluky game. I still think y'all were the better team, but you lost that one. So you win that game, and then obviously if you win the game versus Georgia, you're in the play of hell. You're probably hosting a playoff game there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Vols.
Well, I'll say yeah. Oh, go ahead.
But I want to go to Neyland for a game. That's my one bucket list trip. It is number one Neyland. It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll have a good time there. I promise you that. Well, Tree also predicted Tennessee to go 8-4. So we got 2 8-4s for Tennessee with all the special guests that we're going to have on here in the offseason. Something tells me, Carter, you're going to be like the rest of them and predict us to go 8-4. We'll see if anybody actually goes a little different on that.
Honestly, with you guys not having a solid quarterback right now, and that still being a massive question mark, I mean, that'd be a fucking accomplishment to go 8-4 right now.
No, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I have no reason to at the current moment. I mean, I predicted us to go 8-4 last year. So, yeah, no, I'm not one of these. I'm. Here's the thing about Tennessee fans, okay? It's like politics. You're either all the way on this side or you're all the way on that side. You can never be in the middle or everyone's just going to hate you.
Right.
But I'm in the middle. Henceforth, a lot of people hate me for that. So I've got right now I've got around 8-4, 9-3 if everything goes according to plan. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how it pans out.
I do want to say I thought that's what you said, and I know I've been joking around and college football is fun. I thought what you said about Wes was really nice earlier. I've always liked Wes. I didn't know him that well, but when I was a student, he did spend some time talking to me, and this was the 2010 LSU Tennessee game, which obviously was, the wildest game I think we have ever watched in many ways. But Wes was just a phenomenal guy. I loved his writing. I loved that he was a guy that was strong in his takes. And what you said earlier, Squid, was really, really, really nice. And I also want to say something really nice about you because, Red, I've not watched your content. My apologies. I
No,
know.
no offense. I'm only at 10K for God's sake.
Oh, you got 10K subs?
Yeah, I do actually.
Turn me the F up, Red. Turn me up, bro.
Let him know about it. Let him know about it.
10K. Let's go,
Yeah.
Red.
Hell
Turn
yeah,
me
brother.
up.
Right on the
Like,
money on that one.
All-time great Reds.
Hell
Morgan
yeah.
Freeman on Shawshank, and then you. That's
Oh,
it.
don't kiss my ass. Don't do that.
I'm not gonna kiss your. I'm gonna pucker up and
Whoa,
smack that
whoa.
lovely apple.
No.
Yeah.
Only one person can pucker their lips up at me, and it's my Hoosier girlfriend. All right, that's it. Nobody else.
All right,
wait,
guys.
your
right.
girlfriend's a Hoosh?
My girlfriend's a Hoosier. Hey,
Yeah,
making
life's hard
peace
for him.
across Big Ten lines.
I feel like on that note, we should go ahead and get on out of here. We're past that time. So Carter, tell the people. I linked your channel in the chat, the live chat. So y'all make sure to go check them out. But tell the people where else they can find you.
Go to Power Hour LSU is where you want to watch my LSU content. But probably most of your viewers have a more general SEC view, go to Power Hour SEC. I love that channel. It's, as you know, it's hard to get subs. I think I'm like close to 10K, so I really need to get over that 10K mark. Just did a few deep dives on Byron Brown, who is a little bit better than I thought. Like he is. Oh, yeah, he's got juice, man. He has got juice.
Yeah, he's good enough to carry an SEC. Oh, power went out. He's good enough to carry an SEC team on his back, at least the low grade one.
Wait. So Auburn and Tennessee don't play this year, though, right?
We do.
No, they do.
We play.
Okay.
We play after Texas. Get them in Neyland.
Oh, that's right. Well, I just did the previous. My brain is so fried, but it is interesting that we're going to get the goalish game here versus the former boss. I love that shit so much. I really, really, really do. So, I know it's dangerous to be higher on the Barners, but man, they've been so bad like these last couple of seasons. I kind of want the Barners to be back. I kind of want to see Auburn with a bit of a resurgence this year.
Well,
but
they're going to be a glass cannon this year because I think Golish with his offense and Byron Brown, they're going to put up a lot of points. I think they've got a really good offense. Here's the problem though. They hired Tim Banks as a defensive coordinator. So they're going to score 50. They're going to let up 52. That's going to be Auburn this year.
Wait, so I know you're trying to sign off, but you really thought Banks was that bad?
Dude's horrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. You have a game where you let a freshman quarterback put up 500 yards on you and 5 touchdowns. Yeah, that's awful. That's awful. Worst rushing offense under the Heupel era. I think we finished 87th in total rushing yards allowed. We were one of the worst passing defenses in the country. 122nd was, I think, our passing defense this year in the country. One of the worst in the FBS, and that tells you everything you need to know. It is just terrible. You can never stop anybody on third down. Let Diego Pavia do whatever he wants to. Let this guy do whatever he wants to. He even let ETSU do whatever they want to. I mean, it is absolutely horrendous. You can only use the excuse when it comes to Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson for so long. He was awful.
Oh, okay. So you're of the belief. Let's just say McCoy is healthy, right? And I think McCoy is just as good as Mansour Delane, who's my guy, right? I've gotten some pushback on that, but people need to go back and watch Jermon McCoy. I know the Jeremiah Smith thing happened, whatever. Who hasn't got beat by that guy in man-to-man coverage? But so you still think if McCoy was healthy that Banks would have fumbled this unit?
I don't think it would have been as bad, but the problem with Banks wasn't that we didn't have the talent. We had Ty Redmond out there, and he was performing just as good as any super senior on this team would, and he was a freshman. The problem was that our guys, our linebackers specifically, were horrifically out of position. On top of that, the tackling fundamentals were completely off. We had 98 missed tackles this season, an average of I think 12 to 16 missed tackles per game.
Right.
I mean that is horrendous in any context to have that many missed tackles in any given football game. And the situation only got worse as the season progressed. And by the time the Vandy game rolled around, nobody can make a tackle. They were all doing the same thing. They were doing this thing called the scooping, where they go after the legs, and they literally look like a bunch of dumbass like turtles out there going, oh, there he goes. Bye. I'll catch you next time. It was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
So it's what Auburn's going to have to deal with this year. They're going to have guys out of position, not making tackles. They're going to lose their mind. I don't see them lasting more than 2 years there.
I like it. I love strong takes, as you could tell. I had a buddy who just moved to Baton Rouge and started doing media there. And he was like, man, I don't know anybody that hates you. And I was like, well, you've not been there long enough. You'll find my haters. They're not as few. They're not as vast. But I do want to say, Squidtard, I first off, thanks for having me be on one of your videos.
Yeah.
But I go back to what I said earlier. I'm so happy you lean into the absurdity of this. This sport is supposed to not make sense because it doesn't make sense. All right. And that's what I love about it. And you do a really good job of doing that very thing. So thank you guys so much. And we'll talk soon. How about that?
Man. Sounds good, man. Thank you very much for being on here tonight. We'll make sure to let you on sometime down the road. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Thank you, sir.
Take it easy, man. All right.
Great.
Well, before we wrap it up, got some super chats to answer. General Miley with the 2. What is the Florida record prediction next year? Under the first year of John Summerall, I've got him at probably 5-7, 6-6.
If they play their cards right, the 6-6 in a bowl berth at best.
Yeah, they've got some serious issues over there at Florida. It's not going to pan out too well from year one. Consistently, I think they'll eventually, maybe rise up the ranks, but year one, not going to go great. Tenor Horn with the 5. Here is something for the tip. I mean, the Chick-fil-A fund. Graciously appreciate your offering, good sir. Thank you.
Is that what we're going to call it now? The not officially sponsored Chick-fil-A fund.
Yeah, well, at least on my side, I don't know what you'd call that.
It's still the milkshake fund because milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard.
Okay, yeah.
Tell me when I'm telling lies because the boys are here. They're in the yard, and you, sir, have a milkshake.
And a lot of them are waiting to smooch you. Carter just told us that, so. All right, guys, thank you for being on here tonight for another great episode of the FBS Report. You guys are a really, really great fan base, both me and Red's side. Got some stuff coming for you down the road, specifically working on a end of season Tennessee video. And then I'm going down the list of coaching hires. And of course, this was recommended by a big time donator to the channel. I've also got a Syracuse video on the way coming soon. So stay tuned for that. And then Red, I'm sure, as continuing his work on his Lane Kiffin documentary. We'll call it.
Slowly but surely. We have been burning through the burnout, been trying to power through as best we can. I'll tell you where I'm at with it. I am currently wrapping up Lane Kiffin's USC head coaching years. I'm on his final season at USC now. That'll be done by tomorrow. And then I am hoping to, fingers crossed, and actually get a good chunk of work done this week on it. I'm hoping Patreon sees it late next week, but don't quote me on that because it is really, really tough to get through. It is a fucking mess. And when you guys see it, when I finally do get it to YouTube, you'll understand why it took me 3 goddamn months to get it done. And also, as soon as that's over with, Oklahoma's going to get shit canned ASAP. A fucking sap. The Sooner Schooner wheels are falling the fuck off.
Oh, dadgum Oklahoma. You better get ready for that. All right, guys.
Assholes.
Yeah, right. Well, I appreciate y'all again for being on here tonight. Y'all are all wonderful people. We'll see you next Monday. We don't know what that's going to. We don't know what the special guest setting is going to be for that day, but we'll find out in due time.
Yeah,
Thank you all again for being on here tonight.
From Sesame Street.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. All right, guys. Love y'all. Take care. Have a great rest of your Monday. Get some sleep. Get ready for tomorrow. And as always, power to Tardaria. And we'll check with y'all next week.
This shit's spicy, and you can't even see what the fuck it is because it's green. Blue Diamond Gold, wasabi, and soy sauce flavored almonds. Thank you. Fuck you. Good night.
Yeah, really. What